And in this small video, I'm going to continue with the concept of the SR latch circuit. Okay, so in this SR latch circuit, this is not new to you guys, but we are going to see the CMOS implementation of this SR latch using NAND and NOR gates. Okay, both the NAND as well as NOR gate comparison would be done for this SR latch circuit. First, the circuit structure. So this is the circuit structure of the SR latch. Okay, using CMOS implementation. Okay, so this is using NOR. This is NOR based SR latch. So this is the basic block diagram of the NOR based SR latch. Okay, so this is not new to you all. Using NOR gates, how the SR latch is built, you see here. This SR latch means we don't have any clock signals. We have two inputs, S and R, and Q bar and Q. Okay, where the second input is given as to the given as the output for Q, and the second input of this NOR gate is given as the output for Q bar. Okay, it is fetched. It is cross coupled, and this is the simple diagram of the SR latch. Okay, NOR based SR latch. For this, they have drawn the gate level CMOS implementation circuit. Here what they have done is they have used NOR gate, two input NOR gate. So you know that in NOR gate, in the pull up part, PMOS transistors would be in series and NMOS would be in parallel. So here we had two NOR gates, right? So that's why they have built two separate NOR gates, and the connections they have made, first they have combined the inputs, then the connections based on the circuit they have made, that is this input, that is second input is given as the output for Q. So you see here the second input is given as the output for Q, and here this input R is given as the output for Q bar, that is this input R is given as the output for Q bar. So like this they have made this simple two input CMOS implementation SR latch circuit. Okay, so hope the circuit connections is clear. So introduction: a bistable element constructed using two cross-coupled inverter have two stable operating states. As long as power supply is available, the circuit retains its current state, making it suitable for the memory storage. However, simple two inverter setup does not allow external control to its change state. So we have compared this inverter setup and all in the previous video. Bistable connections we have seen, but it is simple. But here in this case, we need the additional transistors to be applied. So that's why we are using the SR latch in the CMOS implementation. To enable this triggering inputs, external control, and allow the change of state, additional switching elements, that is input, must be added. Okay, that is some external connections, that is the source of inputs must be added. The resulting circuit is a CMOS SR latch. Okay, which includes two inputs, that is one is set input and one is reset input. The circuit is often referred to as an SR flip-flop, as it can toggle between two stable states. So how this latch, when this latch becomes flip-flops, when the latch would be converted to flip-flops only when we have one particular clock signal to be applied, whereas in case of latch circuits we don't have any clock signal. Okay, so the SR latch is implemented using two CMOS NOR gates, as you see in the figure above. Each NOR gate's output is fed into one input of the other NOR gate, that is cross coupling is done. The second input of each NOR gate is connected to the external control input, that is S or R. So this is the gate level schematic, and corresponding block diagram representation is given here. These figures clearly show how the SR latch structure supports both internal feedback and external S and R inputs. Okay, so these circuits provide two outputs, basically Q bar and Q, where Q is the primary output and Q bar is the complement of that primary output. So by definition, in set state, the output Q would be equal to 1 because the output would be set state, so the logic would be high, and Q bar would be 0. And in the reset state, that is, it would be reset, so that's why it would be equal to 0. From 1, it would be turning to 0, and Q bar would be equal to 1. Now, operating conditions for SR latch circuit: if S equal to 0 and R equal to 0, you see the truth table here. If S and R both are 0, 0, the latch holds its previous state. Okay, that is, the latch would be at the hold state. Whatever is the previous state, that would be holding, it won't be getting changed. Okay, but for the second condition, you see here, if S is equal to 1 and R is equal to 0, that is this one 1 0, the latch is set. Okay, when the latch is set means the output Q would be equal to 1 and Q bar would be equal to 0. Okay, so that is, here you see here at the set state, Q would be 1 and Q bar would be 0. But if S is equal to 0 and R equal to 1, the latch is reset. That is, initially it was 1. If it is resetting, the Q would be equal to 0 and its complement Q bar would be equal to 1. So here we have here 0 and 1, and in operation it would be in the reset state. But if both the inputs are 1, that is if S and R are 1, both outputs go to 0, which violates the complementarity conditions. This is forbidden or invalid state. So this is invalid. Why? Because you see here, if both the inputs are 1, the corresponding outputs would be in the 0 0 state. If you compare this, you see here, if both S is equal to 1 and R is equal to 1, and if you apply any of the logical operations using NOR gate, in both the sides you would be getting output as Q as 0, also Q bar as 0. But it is not possible because one should be complement of other. Okay, if this is 0, this should be 1, but this condition is not satisfying that complementarity. So that's why that complementarity condition is not satisfied here. So that's why the resultant is not allowed or invalid. Okay, so this is only in case of SR, but in case of JK, we have an additional thing that I'm going to discuss in that during the discussion of JK, where this final condition is a uh, neglected. Okay, so this is the operating conditions for SR flip flop. Next, transistor level operation of CMOS SR latch, where how these PMOS and NMOS transistors are playing a role. Here it's mentioned here. The operation of CMOS SR latch circuit may be examined more closely by analyzing the behavior of four NMOS transistors, that is M1, M2, M3, N4. Okay, here we are considering the NMOS transistors. Case 1, if S is equal to VOH and R is equal to VOL, transistors M1 and M2 are connected in parallel would be turned on. That is, these are the two transistors M1, M2. If VOH, for first condition, if S is equal to VOH and R is equal to VOL, okay, then first two parallel transistors are turned on. This pulls the Q bar to the logic low level, that is VOL. Okay, it would be logically low, that would be equal to 0. The transistors M3 and M4 are off, so node Q rises to logic high, that is VOH. So Q would be logic high and its complement Q bar would be logic low. Okay, then the latch is in the set state. Similarly, case 2, S is equal to VOL and R is equal to VOH. It is just vice versa. Here in this case, in the first case, M1 and M2 are on. In this, M1 and M2 are off. M3 and M4 are on. That is the transistors which are connected in series. These two transistors, these two parallel transistors are on. The node Q is pulled to VOL and the node Q bar rises to VOH. Okay, so that's why it is in the opposite reset state. Okay, but in the case 3, S and R both are equal to VOL, both M1 and M4 transistors are trigger transistors are off. It depends on the previous state, that is if either M2 is on, Q bar equal to VOL, Q equal to VOH, or M3 is on. It depends on the previous state. Okay, so that's why it holds its previous state. And this is a complete analysis they have given in this table here. You just go note it up. Okay, so this is the operating modes for a CMOS NOR based SR latch of all the transistors. Just now the operating conditions we have explained, right? That only it is mentioned here. Okay, so just read it. So here we have the capacitance in output nodes for the CMOS NOR based SR latch. So the capacitance are mainly this diagram you see here. We have the lumped load capacitance at both the output nodes. Here we have the lumped load capacitance such as CQ at the output node, and this is the CQ bar at the output node. So these are called as lumped node capacitance, which play a vital role during the working of the circuit. Okay, let us see that now. The capacitance at output nodes. The total parasitic capacitance at nodes Q and Q bar are approximated as CQ and CQ bar, where it is given as CGB2 plus CGB5. So this is the equation here. So this is not required because this is the gate to base connection equations. The circuit diagram of the SR latch is shown below together with the lumped load capacitance at the nodes Q and Q bar. So this, if the question is asked, this diagram you should be drawing, that is two input NOR based SR latch, where you should be adding the lumped load capacitance at the output end. Okay. So let us understanding capacitance at output nodes. Its goal is to estimate the total capacitance at output nodes due to the MOSFET intrinsic capacitances. The source of capacitances are CGB and CDB and CSB. Okay, where CGB is the gate to bulk capacitance. That is its functioning is that if the node drives the gate state of the transistor, well, the drain to bulk capacitance, that is if the node is connected to the drain of the transistor, then this would be getting activated. Then source to bulk capacitance CSB, if the node is connected to the source of the transistor especially in stacked operation, then the CSB capacitor would be activated. In stacked transistor configuration, both the source and drain may contribute to the output node equally because the intermediate nodes can swing with the output signal. Okay, so capacitance at Q. So this is the equation for that. CQ is equal to CGB2 plus CGB5 plus CDB3 plus CDB4 plus CDB7 plus CSB7 plus CDB8, where CGB2 and 5 are gates of M2 and M5 which are driven by Q. Then CDB3, 4 and 7 are the drains of M3, M4, M7 which are connected to Q. And CSB7 is the source of stacked M7 which is dynamically connected to the Q. CDB8 is the drain of M8 which is dynamically connected through M7. Okay. Next, capacitance Q bar. CQ bar is equal to CGB3 plus CGB7 plus CDB1, 2 plus CDB5 plus CSB5 plus CDB6, where CGB3 and 7 are the gates of M3 and M7 transistor, which is driven by Q bar. Okay. Then CDB1 to 5 are drains of M1, M2, M5 transistors which are connected by Q bar. All the necessary connections which are driven by the outputs Q and Q bar are represents their capacitances. Okay, same goes with CSB5 and CDB6.